I think we as Opportunity, and me in particular, really felt that for the bank to be successful, the first step really had to be about building a team of people who not only understood what was professionally best practice, but who were really committed to helping low-income people access financial services and really developing a culture of inclusion where the customer felt we were there to serve them. And so we spent a long time building that company culture, and we hired a lot of people who had never worked in a bank before and took them through a lot of training to really kind of build the skill sets. We also built most of our curriculum around some core values of respect for the poor, integrity, accountability, and our real goal was that we all exist to help the customer succeed. And in doing that, that was really the strongest factor that seems to affect customers. So when we would do customer surveys, the thing that would always come back, more so than the interest rate or the price or the product, was that the customer felt they were respected and the customer felt we were there to really serve them. We really spent a long time in the growth of the bank focusing on market research. We really wanted to create a culture of listening and then responding to what our customers wanted. So we built a whole team that was about listening to customers, hearing them, giving them feedback, and then making sometimes customers part of the solution. So we would hold customer conferences, or we would hold events in their village, and they would really not just offer up ideas, but even solutions to us. And those things that we were able to do, we did. So our goal was at least twice a year, we would implement something that a customer told us they wanted. And we weren't always successful. We did a lot of things that we said, gosh, this is just not going to work out. But on the opposite side, through those failures, we learned what did work and how to actually reach into people's lives in a more direct and I hope more sustainable way. I think the thing we did best of all was we really tried to instill into our staff that they really existed and we really existed as an institution to see people able to solve their own problems, and we were there to provide the financial support and the financial vehicles to help them do that. So sometimes it was emergency loans. One of the motivations for ATMs was customers needed money sometimes in the middle of the night, and it was expensive to introduce for us given the average transaction size. But customers really felt that they needed money sometimes when we were closed for a weekend and they had to go to the doctor or they had to pay a bill. And so by doing that, they in turn kind of responded to us by bringing their friends and family in to build up the customer base enough that we could make it sustainable. And so it took a few years, but the bank has made profits for the last couple of years and continues to do so. One of the big innovations we brought early on was a card solution. And we actually implemented that card solution for all customers. And it was really not only became an ID for them, but it also became a way for us to transact with the customer. The goal of that was to lower transaction costs, because we all know it's a challenge to be able to reach into the low-income sector and keep the transaction costs lower. From that, we did a lot of work with point-of-sale devices and retail shops, as well as ATMs. The big innovation, which we haven't completed yet, is really trying to understand how to use mobile phone communication and have mobile banking and mobile platform that will really work with low-income individuals. The challenge is not just the technology, but it's also the cash. They have to be able to turn this electronic value into real cash, especially sometimes in the rural areas. So we've been in a process of looking at where the cash sits, how can it be tracked, how can it be accessed, and how do we turn electronic value into cash for the customers. If you can solve that, we can get the right technology provider. I think it could really open up a whole new level of interaction with customers. I think that some of the things that have been successful have really centered around something very replicatable in other countries, whether it's Africa or part of the world. It really centers on how do we understand the lives of low-income people, and can we actually build products and services that help them manage their lives better. And I think that is really replicatable anywhere in the world you go. And with that, a culture of really seeing a low-income person as your boss, as you're the one there who exists for them, is also replicatable. And when we look around at really successful microfinance institutions, some much bigger than we are, one of the values that you see coming through again and again is this value of putting the customer first and listening to the customer. In terms of other things, I think that we're all struggling in Africa to find the right technology that lowers transaction costs so we can lower the cost to the customer, at the same time reach more and more people. I think there are great examples, an Equity Bank and others, who have pushed this whole area even further. And we've learned a lot by watching what others have done in other countries. And I think right now we're still learning from others, but I think once we all get together and can figure out the keys to reaching into the African context, many of the lessons are transferable.